Nestled in San Jose, California, stands a house like no other. A sprawling mansion with 160 rooms, doors that lead to nowhere, staircases that ascend into ceilings, and windows overlooking blank walls. This is the Winchester Mystery House, a labyrinth of madness, grief, and the supernatural. But behind its bewildering architecture lies a story of guilt, spirits, and one woman's desperate attempt to evade a ghostly curse. Sarah Lockwood Winchester was no ordinary woman. Born in 1839, she married William Wirt Winchester, heir to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. The company was renowned for producing the Winchester rifle, a firearm that would forever change the course of history and Sarah's life. The Winchester rifle earned the nickname the gun that won the West, but its legacy came with a steep price. Thousands lost their lives to its deadly efficiency, and Sarah believed these souls were restless. Her life took a tragic turn when her infant daughter Annie succumbed to illness. Soon after, her husband fell victim to tuberculosis. Alone and heartbroken, Sarah sought solace in the occult. Legend has it that a medium confirmed her darkest fears. She was cursed, haunted by the spirits of those slain by the Winchester rifle. The medium advised her to move west and build a house, but not just any house. She had to keep building day and night to confuse the spirits and escape their vengeance. In 1886, Sarah purchased an unfinished farmhouse in San Jose. From that moment, construction became her obsession. For 38 years, workers toiled around the clock. There were no blueprints, no master plan. Rooms were added, torn down, and rebuilt, hallways twisted into endless mazes. Some say these bizarre designs weren't just eccentric. Sarah believed they were essential to outsmart the ghosts. Doors that led to drops, staircases to nowhere, all distractions meant to mislead the restless spirits. But despite her efforts, the house was far from peaceful. Workers often reported hearing strange noises, footsteps in empty hallways, doors slamming on their own, and the chilling sensation of being watched. Some quit in fear, convinced the house was alive. Sarah herself was reclusive, rarely leaving the house. Each night she held seances in a special room. There, she sought guidance from the spirits, asking how to continue construction. She believed these nightly rituals kept her alive, even as the house grew increasingly chaotic. But what truly haunted Sarah Winchester? Was it guilt over the bloodshed caused by her family's fortune, or was she genuinely tormented by spectral figures demanding retribution? After Sarah's death in 1922, the mansion was left incomplete. To this day, visitors claim the spirits never left. Tour guides speak of phantom footsteps echoing through the corridors. Some have seen shadowy figures darting between rooms. Others describe the unnerving feeling of hands brushing against them when no one is there. These architectural oddities are more than just curiosities. They embody Sarah's fear, her unrelenting need to outpace death itself. But perhaps her most haunting legacy lies in the spirits she could never escape. The Winchester Mystery House is a testament to grief, guilt, and the human need for redemption. But whether it's a portal to the afterlife or a monument to one woman's paranoia, that is for you to decide. There's a house on Ashmore Lane that locals won't go near, not even in broad daylight. Its windows are boarded, the roof sags under years of neglect, and the surrounding garden is an untamed wilderness. To the uninformed, it might seem like just another abandoned home, but the locals know better. They know the whispers and the warnings. The house was built in 1905 by Arthur and Eleanor Green, a wealthy couple who sought to escape the bustling city. The Green family seemed perfect on the surface, but their happiness was short-lived. Arthur became withdrawn, often muttering about voices in the walls. Eleanor, Once the picture of Grace was found sobbing uncontrollably in the parlor on more than one occasion. Their 3 children, Henry, Rose, and little Mary, were the first to claim they'd seen someone in the house. The man in the shadows, Mary called him. At first, they dismissed her as having an overactive imagination, but then Henry saw it too, and Rose began to have nightmares so vivid she refused to sleep in her own bed. One autumn evening in 1910, the Green family vanished without a trace. Neighbors noticed the house was eerily quiet, the once bustling home now void of life. Days turned into weeks, and still there was no sign of them. When authorities finally entered, they found a chilling scene. A dinner table set for 5, the food untouched, and the chairs neatly pushed back as if the family had simply stood up and walked away. The only clue was a single word scrawled on the wall in what appeared to be blood: leave. Over the years, the house on Ashmore Lane changed hands many times, but no one stayed for long. Each family reported strange happenings: footsteps echoing in empty hallways, doors slamming shut on their own, and whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. Some claimed to see figures in the mirrors, shadows that didn't belong to them. By the 1970s, the house had gained a reputation as cursed. The last known occupants were the Marshalls, a young couple expecting their first child. Within months of moving in, they were found dead in the living room, their faces frozen in expressions of sheer terror. The official cause was listed as unexplained cardiac arrest, but the locals knew better. They said the house had claimed them, just as it had claimed the Greens. Fast forward to the present day. A group of college students, fueled by curiosity and a few too many beers, decided to spend the night in the infamous house. Among them was Sarah, an aspiring filmmaker who thought documenting the experience would make for a thrilling project. Her friends, Mike, Rachel, and Jason, reluctantly agreed, lured by the promise of adventure. The group entered the house just as the sun dipped below the horizon. Armed with flashlights and a camera, they explored cautiously. The air inside was thick, stale, and carried a faint metallic scent. Sarah's camera captured everything: the peeling wallpaper, the broken furniture, and the unsettling silence that seemed to press against their ears. As they ventured deeper, they found a dusty music box sitting on a mantel. When Rachel turned its key, a haunting lullaby filled the room, and the temperature dropped noticeably. "Did you feel that?" Mike asked, rubbing his arms. The others nodded, their breath visible in the sudden chill. The first truly terrifying moment came when Jason wandered upstairs alone. He called out to the others, his voice tinged with unease. When they found him, he was standing in a bedroom staring at a cracked mirror. I saw something," he stammered. "A woman, just behind me. But when I turned around, she was gone." The others dismissed it as nerves, but Sarah's camera caught something they hadn't noticed: a faint outline of a face in the mirror right over Jason's shoulder. As the night wore on, the activity intensified. Doors slammed shut, footsteps echoed above them, and the whispers grew louder. At one point, Rachel screamed, claiming she felt icy fingers graze her arm. When they checked, there were red marks, like handprints, on her skin. Mike, the skeptic of the group, suggested they leave, but Sarah insisted they stay. "Just a few more hours," she pleaded. "We're so close to proving this place is really haunted." But then, the house seemed to turn on them. Around 3 a.m., the group gathered in the living room, too scared to separate. Suddenly, the music box began to play on its own. The lights on Sarah's camera flickered, and an oppressive darkness filled the room. "Do you hear that?" Rachel whispered. The whispers had grown into guttural growls, the sound circling them like a predator stalking its prey. Then they saw it, a shadowy figure standing at the foot of the stairs. It had no discernible features, but its presence radiated malice. It moved closer, its form shifting and writhing like smoke. Jason screamed and bolted for the door, but it wouldn't budge. The others followed, pulling and pounding, their desperation mounting. The shadow loomed closer, and Sarah's camera captured its final moments before it abruptly cut to static. The group was found hours later by a passing jogger who noticed the door ajar. They were huddled together in the living room, their faces pale and their eyes wide with terror. None of them spoke of what happened inside, but they never returned to the house. Sarah's camera was found among the debris, but the footage was corrupted. Only one frame remained intact. The shadow figure, standing inches from Sarah, its formless face staring directly at the lens. To this day, the house on Ashmore Lane remains abandoned, a silent monument to the horrors it holds within. Locals still warn against going near it, and those who dare claim to hear whispers in the wind, leave. It stands like a brooding sentinel on Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. To the casual observer, it is just another Dutch colonial house. But to those who know its story, it is a portal to nightmares. A house where darkness has festered and horrors have unfolded. This is the story of the Amityville Horror, a tale that begins not with the Lutz family, but with a tragedy. In November 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. committed an unthinkable act, murdering his parents and 4 siblings as they slept. He claimed he was driven by voices that urged him to kill. The DeFeo murders sent shockwaves through the quiet town, but the true terror was only beginning. A year later, the Lutz family moved into the house, lured by its charm and surprisingly low price. For 28 days, they lived in what they believed would be their dream home. Instead, they found themselves plunged into a waking nightmare. It began subtly. George Lutz felt an unrelenting chill, no matter how high the thermostat was set. He became obsessed with chopping wood to fuel the fireplace, his mood darkening with each passing day. Kathy felt an invisible force touch her, cold and uninvited, and then came the odors, foul smells that seemed to emanate from nowhere. The house seemed alive, its very walls pulsating with malevolence. The children's behavior changed too. Their youngest, Missy, claimed to have an imaginary friend, a pig-like creature named Jody with glowing red eyes. Jody was no ordinary figment of a child's imagination. George and Kathy dismissed it at first, until they too began to sense an oppressive presence watching them. In the basement, George discovered what he would later call the Red Room, a hidden space that had not been mentioned in the house's blueprints. It exuded a sense of dread, as if it were a portal to something unspeakable. As the days wore on, the manifestations grew more violent. Doors slammed with unseen force, the walls seeped a mysterious black substance, and Kathy's reflection in the mirror transformed into a haggard, skeletal visage. Every night, George awoke at precisely 3:15 a.m., the time of the DeFeo murders. He began to hear phantom gunshots and voices whispering his name, drawing him further into the house's sinister grip. Desperate for answers, Kathy reached out to Father Ray, a local priest, but even he was not immune to the house's wrath. As he attempted to bless the home, he was struck by an unseen force and warned to get out. The blessing was abandoned, and the priest refused to return. On the 28th day, the Lutz family could take no more. They fled in the dead of night, leaving all their belongings behind. They never returned. . The Lutz family's story captured the nation's attention. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren were among those who examined the house, claiming it was infested with a demonic presence. Others dismissed the tale as a hoax. The Warrens described the Amityville house as one of the most terrifying cases they had ever encountered. Lorraine Warren, a clairvoyant, claimed to sense a powerful evil lingering within its walls. To this day, the Amityville horror remains a source of fascination and debate. Was the Lutz family truly haunted, or was it a fabrication to capitalize on the house's grim history? The truth may never be known, but one thing is certain: the house on Ocean Avenue holds secrets that refuse to be silenced. The Amityville horror, a tale of tragedy, terror, and the mysteries that dwell in the shadows.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.